Jack, even over here. All right, everyone. It looks like we are streaming just fine. Good morning. Thank God it is Monday. Pleasure to have you guys here today. This is our Monday Mastermind that we have every Monday. We've been doing this now literally for like 5 years. We haven't missed a beat. Done quite a few Monday Masterminds, but this particular year, 2026, we've been dialing in really deep on at least 52 weeks of strategy type content, in essence, teaching you guys sales psychology, things that I've learned over the course of my 20 plus years direct marketing, my 40 years of marketing and doing sales all my life. In essence, been selling since I was a baby. And you know what? So have you. You just don't realize that, right? So anyway, we meet every Monday. This is part of the Lost Transition. If you'd like to join us live, you can join us at live.thelosttransition.com. Hey, there's Rita. She made it. Good morning, sunshine. Anyway, we meet and we are now, if you guys are paying attention, hopefully you are, we're into week 26. In a couple of days, it's going to be July, my birth month. Yay! I'm looking forward to celebrating that entire month. But look, we're 6 months gone, right? So if you're focusing on business, that's what you're here for because we've been dialing in all these different things. I trust that you've gotten some of your goals accomplished. If not, then we need to kind of work towards getting some of those accomplished because look, we're moving into the month seven of a 12-month kind of year, right? So if you're behind, you need to kind of take a look at what numbers that you've been talking about and then dive into some of the trainings that we've been dealing out. Really dial in and focus on those 5 conversations per hour that we talk about. And if you're a paid member of the Lost Transition, I would implore you to dive into the CRM and start learning how to utilize it. Once you go and you set up your emails so that you know, okay, if I send somebody this email, when they say they'll take a look at it, this is what they're going to get, and you're happy with it, perfect. Same thing with the try or book. Intentionally, the book is going to be, you want to like schedule some more time with them. Maybe it's another meeting, or maybe you need to get them in front of an actual presentation. Make sure that those are all dialed in and start playing around with that CRM. But let's get you hitting your goals. So we talk a little bit. We share the wins from those of us that are in the audience right now. Love to hear your wins and live vicariously through you. And then we have an instructional piece. We'll open it up for questions and answers and takeaways at the very end. A true fun mastermind that you don't want to miss, and you will learn something. I do recommend that you take notes because we do drop what I like to call drop gold nuggets and even gold bars from time to time. Today is week 26. As I mentioned at the very beginning, we're going to talk today about handling the I need to think about it. And this is something that I really enjoy, this part of the series of these 52 weeks that we've been delving into. We're really going to start getting into some of the nitty and gritty when it comes to the psychology of what triggers those things, why people even say them. And again, my philosophy, what I'm doing my best to teach you guys is how to not avoid the objections, but how to explain your product and services in such a way that you answer the objections in advance so that you don't have those objections come up. Right? You don't really want somebody saying, I need to think about it. And there's reasons why they say I need to think about it. We're going to discuss those. So, who wants to start the show off? Anybody got some wins that they'd like to share with us before we dive into the content? Feel free to raise your hand and let us know what's going on in your world. Let us know the wins that are happening so we can celebrate them with you. Dr. Lisa, good morning. How are you?
Good morning. I got something cool out of ChatGPT today.
Right on. Tell
And let's see. I'm going to put it right in the chat.
Okay.
I trust Virgil is able to grab it.
Nice.
So I'm in a few communities that share prompts and stuff, and so you know this was one of the
You did a nice little
outputs.
graphic there for Virgil. It looks really nice.
Oh my God.
That's
Oh
right.
my God. I'm gonna be using this as a post in within the hour.
For sure.
So deep fakes are getting even better, but sometimes deep fakes can be good.
Well, so it sounds to me like you tackled another learning curve of learning how to do prompts better, huh?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
And
once you guys understand that and get that down, man, you can make some amazing things. So thanks for sharing that with us. Congrats. Good job. Kudos. And I know Virtual loves it. Thanks for sharing. Gene, what you got, brother?
Dr. Lisa, were you done?
Yeah, I think so. I
Okay,
believe.
I just want to make sure I didn't know you had another win. And that
No,
looks like a book cover, Virgil and Dr.
that looks
Lisa. So,
nice, right?
um, basically, my biggest win was I launched my show last Thursday. Thank
Yeah.
you for joining, Robert. It was rough,
Yeah.
and episode two will already be new and improved because I've got a new way to do my notes. And I really took advantage of ChatGPT and its voice to text.
Good.
I sat here just like I'm sitting here now last week, Thursday morning, and I watched the Expedition Unknown episode that I was going to be talking about. But I would play a little bit while I had the voice to text recording. Then I'd pause that and hit the send. So ChatGPT knew all the details of the show.
Nice.
Now I use Restream and I tested it yesterday and it works. So the next episode I do, and any future shows I do, I'm actually going to, because I'm not streaming it live, I'm just recording it on Restream. I'm
Right.
going to screen share the show that I'll be watching to Restream, hit record, and watch the show. And then I can upload that recording and the transcript Restream gives me to ChatGPT, so it will be able to match and give me all the proper names of people and proper places of things, or proper names of places, and also be able to give me suggestions of, hey, maybe you want to flash this image up at this timestamp and
Right.
things. So it's going to really help me out with my notes so that I will seem like I really know what I'm talking about when maybe I don't, because it's watching the show with me,
Right.
basically. And it does it instantly, because it can't really watch the video and listen to the sound, but it can capture screenshots and look at those images and look at the transcript and know exactly how the show's flowing and know key points in Josh Gates's show and where I need to zero in on certain things and where not to. And now we've got a television format type note taking that I give it to it and say, okay, now spit me out my notes. There it is.
Yeah.
And it's going to really now I can print off my notes and scan it first and make changes. But you know, ChatGPT is just amazing. And
Absolutely.
but launching the show, and then I did another video yesterday, just a short on underwear, which you got to go check out. Um, Nothing bad, just something that voice to text got me on, and I thought it was kind of comical. But I'm going to be doing other little things too. Like I just found a rumor that Josh Gates might be leaving Discovery for Amazon, which doesn't look like it's a real rumor. But now I can do it. Gene has concerns.
Right.
A short 5-minute video on debunking that story,
Right.
debunking that rumor.
Sure.
And it ties into what I'm already doing. So I'm going to be doing things like that or doing news updates or things that are trending in that arena. I can do stuff on and kind of become a companion to these TV shows, is what I'm
Sure.
hoping to do. So,
Sure. Yeah, and in essence, like what comes to my mind off of what you're talking about is piggyback marketing, right? So if you know much about piggyback marketing, you can use that to gain some followers, gain some likes and views, obviously. But first off, congratulations for you actually taking the action and launching the show. That's the big thing, right? So
Thank you.
kudos to you. Everybody, hats off. Round of applause to Gene for actually taking action. A lot of times, as we talk about in this room, we tend to get caught up in the details, which causes us to freeze and then not take any action. So kudos to you for doing that. The other thing I want to mention that I don't think that you touched on is the fact that you were able to take your channel from 0 to over 100 subscribers. I think it was about 24 hours, I think.
Well, I actually
Something
started
to
off at
that.
81 subscribers because my
Oh,
channel is
okay.
19 years old, but
Okay.
still 81 to 111. That's 30 new subscribers in a
Yeah,
week.
that
So,
was good. I just wanted to mention that as well because
yeah,
you didn't mention that. I think that that's a win. And
definitely.
people might not realize this, how easy it really is to help streamers or people like yourself that are on YouTube with a simple like or even a subscribe to the channel. It doesn't cost them anything. Yet many of those people that are out there earning an income on there have to still beg for that like, right? Or have to beg for that subscribe. So if you know anything about YouTube and you're out there and you're watching and you want to watch Gene's content, definitely drop a like and subscribe. And yeah, I think it was a little shaky, but I enjoyed it as much as I could. And I love the fact that you understood and you had the awareness to realize, hey, okay, these are the things that I liked and didn't like or could do better. And you've already making the plan to step forward to make it even better show. So kudos to you, brother.
I
Just want to
appreciate that.
mention,
Thank you.
give yourself a few more flowers there.
I appreciate that.
But good job for starting, man. I love that show. And I trust it. He, as long as he goes anywhere, if he goes anywhere, I just trust he continues that type of show and content because I definitely enjoy it. I
I don't think
definitely
he's
have ways
going
that I
anywhere
can
though. I think
live
he's locked in.
vicariously through Josh, you know?
Exactly.
Thanks
So,
for sharing.
all right, thank you.
Appreciate you being here, brother. Hi, Mikey. Good morning. How are you? Or good
Hi, good
afternoon.
morning. How are you?
Fantastic. Super good and getting better by the second, especially having
Wow,
you here.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Right. Well, I want to say congratulations to the gentleman too, because I have a show in my head and I want to get it off the ground and it's been just in my head. So I'm proud of you.
Cool.
Right.
Let's get together, man. Let's work on it and let's move you into action, my friend.
There you go.
You know?
Right,
But
but I must say that I have made strides
well,
because I'm actually working from a calendar.
uh, oh good, good.
It's you know something, when I got out into the world of being an entrepreneur, I realized that the hardest person to govern is yourself.
Amen. Amen.
Oh my gracious God.
Amen. And if I may I?
Yeah.
I'm gonna say something, and this isn't to offend anybody. Obviously, you have to understand where this is coming from. Again, it's my military mindset, and I talk about it many times, right? 90% of the people that go into online business, especially, they're not even qualified, right? They're not qualified. They don't understand that it takes one of the biggest things is discipline.
Oh,
And unfortunately, many of us as humans, without
terrible.
any formal training,
Oh,
have a huge, huge lack of discipline, right?
yep.
So if you can go and change the mindset to understand to control the discipline in a military style fashion, things begin to change. You start showing up for yourself, and ooh, as I'm saying this, I'm getting goosebumps.
Yeah.
But not just to show up for yourself, but to show up for others, right? Again, it's a switch in the mindset. Many people will go and they'll jump onto to marketing online thinking the wrong way. We're like, oh, I got to make this sale instead of, oh, I got to serve the public or find out what the public needs and then solve it. As an example with the lost transition, with all the tools that are in the back office there now, those are all created out of the need, want, and desire of what we were currently experiencing in the marketplace, especially myself and Virgil with dealing with trying to teach people how to use the specific platform that we were using, you know. But again, I'll echo what I said. Congratulations on moving into action, Gene, and kudos to you, Mikey, for bringing it up. And if you need help, I'm here to help. You know,
Right. Thank
let's
you.
get you a few little tweaks here and there, and you'll be
Right.
off to the races.
So out of that now, I'm establishing routines. So I know when this meeting is. I have a 9 o'clock meeting, then I know what's after that because my calendar is, and I'm even learning to pin things on my thing. And
Yeah,
God, it's
good,
like I can't tell you. I feel
good.
like a brand
Amen.
new woman.
Good, good. Hey, the awareness is most important, and I'm glad that you at least have that awareness to see. Like,
Yeah,
I'm not trying to sound funny either, but even when it comes to any kind of addiction, the awareness is what's important, right? So if
yeah,
we're doing good things, it's good to be aware of those, and if we're doing bad things, it's even more important to be aware of those, so that
yeah.
we can correct our own behavior instead of having somebody else try to correct our behavior for us, you
Right.
know.
And I even tried to make, I made a poster with Chat GPT. I just
Right
saying,
on,
like, wait a minute, you're getting gooder and gooder. I come to
right
that
on,
guy.
right on. Yeah,
Yeah.
and then the last thing that
Thank
I
you.
think in my mind to share with you guys is time management. It's so, so, so crucial.
Yeah.
If you can learn how to manage your time, and then the way that I try to explain things with understanding the 5 conversations per hour, it means you only have 12 minutes. And when you understand that and you bury that into it, now next thing you know is you'll have a conversation and you'll be thinking, okay, I'm taking too long, time to move on to the next one. But it'll help you move forward, right?
Oh, yeah.
But time everything. Put it down on
Oh,
calendars
yeah.
if that's what you need.
Oh,
Put up
yeah.
sticky notes, whatever you need to remind yourself so that you get the consistency down.
Oh,
Once
yeah.
the consistency is there, then you can start seeing more action. But anyway,
Thank you so much.
thank you. Thank you for sharing. Anybody else have some wins they want to share? Go ahead
I
first.
got one. I got one. It's a simple one, still the same consistency, and it
Right on.
hasn't been easy. Uh, the notable win for this week is that I had left a little bit of my whole brand and merchandising uh, business a little bit on the side because it was a little bit complicated to juggle all that time. And this week I've been able to come back in the fold. Came up with a nice concept that I can apply here. Um, a mix between on command and drop shipping type. It's a hybrid. Since here I can produce merchandise, have it shipped at home, and I can also contract others to build in more complex pieces. The big problem recently has been that the market has shifted for those who are in the apparel business. There has been so many changes from first the accessibility of the technology for others to be able to put forward their inspiration, and also the technical environment, the machines have become more accessible. So there's a lot of changes and dynamic shift in that business, and I was able to find something that I think will work. I tested it with a few of these artists that I'm shadowing and other small businesses that I'm growing, turning it into like a custom branding for their clientele and their merchandising need. And it's been well received. So that has been something, and it allows me to also start carrying another stream of income locally. So I'm pretty happy with that. I'll most likely start the full promotion rollout this week, along with the rest of the activity, and it's going to be a lot easier to manage now on the calendar. So yeah, consistency and discipline. You always need more of that. You never have enough discipline.
I heard a lot of stuff is going on in my life. We're making progress, and then I heard another income stream. And that's what rang out. Like, what? My ears perked up like a dog at the sound of your name. Kudos, brother. Kudos. Look, that's the thing that we were just talking about, right? Consistency, and especially too, right? If you're passionate about what you're doing. If you're not passionate about it, then I would not recommend doing it. I'm just going to be honest with you, okay? I'm not going to beat around the bush. If what you're doing right now in your business and even the product, you're not passionate about it, you're in the wrong business. You're doing the wrong thing, right? Because when you can come from a level of having a passion about it and then blend in that consistency so that you have a reason to jump out of bed every morning and then you start working towards whatever those goals are, then eventually you're gonna hit those goals, guys. You're gonna do it. So kudos to you, Virgil, and thank you for sharing, brother. Rita, hello, my wife. How are you? Feel like I haven't talked to you in ages.
Oh, it's been a minute for sure.
I
I,
wanted to
I,
make sure I gave you your space, you know.
yes, and you understand how I need a break from you every now and again.
Yes, you know, of course, my love.
Hey, everybody. I am in Maryland with fam and just trying to help out where I can. Um, but I did want to report on my activity or lack thereof and talking about procrastination and behaviors. So I was using the tool, and one thing led to another, and I was on the doing the fives, but I only did one, and the one turned into a 30-hour ordeal. But it really wasn't 30 hours. It was just because I got sidetracked, like Mikey was saying. There's so many things, and you were speaking of the discipline. So I
Right.
can totally concur with that. I don't. I consider it a win because that's a look into what's needed to be done or the focus. But I really did appreciate the having that timer back there, even though you can do it yourself when it's right in front of your face when you're working. It's like, okay, get back to what you're supposed to be working on. And you may get sidetracked, but I think that's just a part of the journey.
Ooh, I got goosies on that one. Yeah, you know, the whole idea is just to get you thinking about the time as you're having the conversations. As I mentioned before, once you're into it, like I've done this for so long, it's a natural instinct for me to automatically be thinking about the time as it's passing, as I'm having a conversation. And just be perfectly honest with you guys, as always, like I'm constantly looking at the time, constantly, right? Even when we're doing the show, I want to say, okay, where are we at on time? Where are we at on time? Right now, I'm thinking, all right, we got 5 more minutes, 5 more minutes, right? But once you're in that zone, like it's again, it's open the door, have the conversation. Is it going to go anywhere? Change the state if it is. Talk business. Figure out is it a look, try, or book, and then get to the next conversation. Right? Shoot, move, and communicate mindset, military mindset there. But I miss you, Rita. Thank you for sharing. And I'm glad you're in Baltimore, right? Be more, right?
I am hold on, let's see. I'm trying to get it on. Okay, I'm in Silver Spring, Maryland.
Springs. Okay. I used to live there too, as well, by the way.
You've lived
Yeah, I love that
everywhere I've
place.
been.
Yeah.
I would love to have lived there. There was a
Silver
time I was
Springs is
looking.
nice. I like it a little bit better than Baltimore, but you know, we be more and be more.
It's possible that we could have crossed paths at some point, just didn't know because we revolve around each other's lives. So there you
Right?
go.
Right.
Yep,
There you go.
absolutely.
Thank you. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for sharing. Hi, Tony. All right, guys. I don't really have too much of a win to put down other than everything in the back office for the Lost Transition is working very well. We will be making some updates to the Look Tribe book so that you can create better emails. I will be doing a walkthrough, and of course, this Saturday is an inner circle meeting for upgraded members, so we will be covering that for sure. Make sure you're there at 12 o'clock on Saturday. Beyond that, the conference room, I'm really excited for that and what I'm doing with it. If I can make it work, I say if, only because there's challenges with the particular coding and all this other stuff. Trying to make it work as good as Zoom, if not better. And if I can get it to work the way I want it to, Gene, I think you'll be really excited because overall, I'm doing the conference room with the intention of a full-blown studio, right? So you being able to share a screen, adding cameras, some really cool stuff that I'm baking into it. So let's say you want a new camera, Gene, as an example. You only have the one here, but you want to use a secondary camera to switch like maybe a side angle. You can go click on it, and then there's a QR code that'll pop up. I scan with my camera, and then my phone becomes a second camera that I can use. Kind of neat, right? So that's what I'm looking forward to trying to finish and complete. So beyond that, I'm excited for all of you guys. I appreciate all of the wins. And let's dive into this information because we're going to need a little bit of time here to talk about one of the biggest, shall we say, objections that people in sales and network marketing get all the time. And in fact, how many of you by a show of raise of hands have ever heard this? I need to think about it. Right? Come on now. I know you all should be having your hand out, right? So all that is, right? That's a hesitation that comes, excuse me, mostly because you didn't build up enough rapport with the person. And then there's a key word that I'm going to say today, and and understand where it's coming from. And that word is likability. Okay, likability. So there is a specific likability that needs to happen within you, through you, for you, to the other person. Remember, as I've always taught, a sale isn't that exchange of goods and services for a monetary value. It's literally just an exchange of emotions. So if you can transfer that emotion onto another person, you're never going to hear, I need to think about it. Okay. And if you can make sure that you're dialing in with all the things that we've taught up to this point, because quite a bit, we've laid down quite a bit. If you know and understand all the lessons that we've taught up to now, you should be really affluent at being able to have a conversation pretty quickly, diagnosing whether they're an orange, an apple, or a coconut, deciding whether or not that conversation is going to go business, being able to, as I mentioned before, change that person's state and then go into a presentation or preview mode to where you're asking questions to the prospect. You're digging into and finding out what is the salt, so to speak, right? What are the problems that they're running through? Asking the right questions so that you can find out what the true issues are that they're running into, right? There's a lot of psychology that goes behind that. But when you do it the right way, I said all that to say this, you don't really have the I need to think about it, right? In fact, I can't remember the last time I even heard somebody say, I need to think about it, only because of how I present myself and also detaching myself away from whatever the solution is, right? Whatever the outcome is, excuse me, right? So if they join, great. If they don't, that's okay too. I'm completely disconnected about it, right? So when you talk about, I want to think about it into conversation mastery, this like is the number one thing that you're always going to hear, right? I need to think about it. So I want to dig in and kind of explain to you guys on the psychology side of things as well to make sure that we're all clear. We're all on the same sheet of music on why this happens. Because if you have awareness and you know and understand why it happens, and you can identify as it happens, then, like we were talking about, funny how the universe works, you can make that corrective behavior. Similar to Virgil will understand what I'm talking about with the word basically when we started talking about our forbidden words, right? Using the word so many times. Once he had the spatial awareness to understand that he was saying something that shouldn't have been said, he started recognizing the patterns because that's what it was. It was a pattern of him saying that and then being able to start eliminating that word out of his vocabulary to now it's very rare if you ever hear him say it, right? So the thing, same kind of thing needs to be instilled into you by understanding and having that awareness on why you hear that. What is it that you as a person is saying that is creating that objection? Because ultimately that's what's happening. If you're getting objections, it's you, the person that's doing the presenting. I'm not here to hurt your feelings. Again, I'm just very truthful with you. It's you that's presenting that is striking something open in their mind to cause that hesitation. The biggest one being, I need to think about it, is always going to come from not having enough likability and not building enough rapport at the very beginning, right? So you need to make sure that you do certain things like have a smile on your face when you're presenting. I think it was last week or the week before I gave you guys a little clue as far as when you're talking to somebody in person to use the triangle method, right? Use one eye, the other eye, then the mouth, and rotate as you're talking. This way you still keep in eye contact with that person, right? but you're not staring at them all crazy. You're not giving them a crazy eye, right? So, but it's a stall, right? It's preventing them from moving forward, almost like preventing yourself from moving forward in action. But an objection, it tells you what's wrong. This is the key thing that I want you guys to understand. With these objections and all these gurus that are out there trying to tell you or teach you how to handle these objections, you need to understand why they're even happening, right? Because if you understand them, then you can prevent them from happening in the first place. So a lot of people, though, when you're looking at general salespeople, they're going to think of it as like a maybe, when it's not, right? It's a soft no, really, is what it is, right? It's an easy way of them telling no, I'm not interested because you did not give me enough value throughout your presentation for me to say, yeah, that seems like something that I could need. Okay? Very important. But your job isn't to sit there and push on it. Your job is to find out what are they really thinking, right? That's where the questions, when you talk about becoming really good at asking questions and telling stories, that's where the questions come in, right? So it's your job to find out what are they really thinking before they walk away and never come back because you never get that second chance to make a first impression, right? If you lose that sale because you give a bad first impression or you don't present it properly and they give you the I need to think about it, odds of you getting that sale later on are pretty low. They really are. Unless you come back with just the right presentation, similar to I of course think about my buddy Brett in heaven and how he approached me with Nowsight. Said, look, you at that point had to come back and be very direct and say, look, I know you're not looking for this. I know you told me no before, but I think you need to really like give it some time to take an honest look at it, right? At least come and see what you're saying no to. That's a beautiful line that I love using. Write that down if you need to. At least take the time to come see what you're saying no to. I'll say that again for you guys. Hey, at least take the time to see what you're saying no to. What's it gonna hurt? You can even throw in what's it gonna hurt. Right? Raise the tonality of your voice to make sure it sounds like a question. Right? This way you at least get that re-engagement if it's possible. If not, then you already know. You're like, all right, well, Rob told me about this. And then just let it go. Right? So here's what they're really saying though. Okay, there's four different things behind this, and this is where the psychology comes in. Number one, it could be fear. Right? You didn't, throughout your presentation, you didn't ease whatever their fear was, probably because you didn't know what their fear was. Number two is going to be confusion. It's something that I've been saying for over a decade. Is look as if a customer is upset, and I still say this every time I get on the phone with customer service with anybody when I'm upset. I said if a customer is upset, it's only for two reasons. Number one, it wasn't explained properly, or number two, they didn't understand it. Okay, you hear what I'm saying? They weren't explained properly, or two, they didn't understand it. Those go hand in hand. And it happens all the time because there wasn't a full understanding of it, there's confusion or could be confusion. That's another reason that they could say, well, I need to think about it. Because there's confusion. Hence, I need to think about it. Again, you're causing that confusion. They're going to say, I need to think about it. Number three is not enough info. As I kind of alluded to earlier in my conversation, throughout your conversation, you didn't give them enough to clear out whatever confusion and erase whatever fear that they had. And then number four is that there's not enough pain in that current situation, right? So many moons ago, when dawn broke over yonder pass and buffaloes roamed the earth freely, I mentioned that there's only two reasons that people join a business, right? Because they're in pain and desperation, or they're already on the path of trying to find something different because what they're doing now isn't working. Okay? That comes from pain. Pain in their lifestyle. What's going on? Maybe they can't meet their bills. Maybe it's a shitty relationship, right? Maybe it's their living conditions, whatever it else. But they're not going to make that change until there's enough pain for them to say, look, I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired, right? So that's where the psychology side of things come in, and we start talking, we start asking questions and finding out, well, what do they want the money for? Well, what would they do with the money, right? And well, what if you don't change whatever that situation is? Oh my God, that's a big one. You want to rub salt into a wound. Ask that client, ask that potential customer, well, what happens if you don't make this change? Are you kidding me? Let them do the talking so that they talk themselves into needing your product, right? But those are the four main things. I trust that you guys wrote them down, take a screenshot, do something, right? Make sure you understand that those are the four main reasons behind whatever that stall is, especially when it says, I need to think about it. Okay. Now, here's the deal killer. And I've said this back before in my past. It's like, okay, let me know. Because of being detached from the outcome, and it works quite well because, that defuses somebody from thinking that, you're just there for a sale, which if you have the right mindset, you're not, right? You're there to legitimately help somebody if they've got a problem and you're the solution to that problem, then it makes sense that you would have the conversation with them, right? And it would make sense that if they don't want to take the action, then that's okay because it's still not affecting you directly. They've still got to deal with whatever their pain is. This is something I really want you guys to understand, right? So it's not like, oh, they said no. Oh, man, it's gonna crush me. No. No, 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 no. Contraire, mon frere. It's like they said no when they should have said yes. That's not on me. So therefore, I shouldn't have any emotional attachment to it, and I shouldn't let that no upset me. Instead, I'm going to learn from it. I'm going to have the awareness and say, all right, well, I'm showing up to Rob's classes. We're learning all these things. We're going to implement what he's teaching. And little by little, you'll start learning. You'll see these patterns. Guys, I'm telling you, you'll see the patterns to where you'll be like Neo in the Matrix and you'll be able to answer questions. You'll know what people are going to say before they even say them. Okay? It happens all the time. But again, I can explain this to you. You won't understand it or see it until you actually take the action, do it yourself, and you see, oh, and you have those light bulb moments. Those are my favorite. This is why I teach, honestly, is those light bulb moments when you guys go, oh, ah, I get it now. Or like Rita, I connected the dots, right? That's what I live for. So why does okay let me know kill the deal? Well, if you go and you say, uh, when you say let me know, you hand in all the power to the prospect, in essence. 1 second. Excuse me. Good morning. Yes, I will be there tomorrow. Bye. Confirming massage. Amen. I love Tuesdays almost as much as Mondays. But anyway, getting back to what we're talking about, if you go and you say, okay, well, let me know, well, all you're doing is you're letting that prospect off the hook, so to speak. In fishing terms, you've landed the prospect. And you're like, no, I need to think about it. You're like, okay, let me know. You pull that hook out and you just throw them back in the water. And then, of course, you're never going to go and follow up with them because why would you do that, right? Right? Why would you follow up? I'm joking, of course. But the conversation is the only time that they'll ever feel whatever that momentum is, right? So it's important that at the time you're having that conversation, even if they say that they need to think about it, that you delve into that. So you find out, if nothing else, for your own educational purposes, right? So then you can say, okay, well, when I say this, people say that, right? I'm only telling you this again because it's just right off the top of my head. Uh, it's from that practical experience that you'll start seeing what works and what doesn't, right? And then when you start seeing what works, when you answer in this way and it works, you're like, oh, okay. All right, use that to my repertoire, part of my repertoire, or part of my scripting, part of my verbiage that I use when I'm selling whatever it is that I'm selling, right? But you don't chase them later, right? Stay in the room now, have that conversation. And I know emotionally you're gonna feel like it's gonna kill you, but really it's not. Really it's not. And there's nothing wrong either with saying, Let me ask you, because I'm trying to get better at what I'm doing here. What was the moment that made you think that you weren't interested, or the moment that you know said you had to think about what is it, or what is it that you had to think about? I'm kind of giving away the ending here. But anyway, yeah, what I'm getting at is stay in it without being pushy. Dorette, did you want to say something real quick?
No, I thought you were actually asking the question. I didn't know it was rhetorical.
Love it. I love it. So even better, right? We get that reaction. That's the exact reaction that you want. Just like Dorette. No, I want to answer that question, right? So you want to stay in it is what I'm getting at, but without being pushy, right? Pushy is the person that's going to be talking more and more and listening less. Notice what I did. She raised her hand. I want to hear if she has some input. Otherwise, I'm just being pushy by not acknowledging her hand raise, right? Or I might repeat the same pitch louder. No, you don't understand. I'm trying to tell you this is how it works, right? Or make it about yourself. We already mentioned that. You never want to make it about yourself. Because any and all of that, all that's going to do is create more pressure, more tension. Remember, again, all we want to do is transfer that energy onto them, right? We don't want to creative energy and put up their walls and have them set their phasers to stun, right? We want a welcome invite. We want the door open. We want them to say, "Come on in, my friend. Tell me what you got." Right? So the persistent one, we're going to ask good questions. Remember, we're going to get really good at asking questions and telling stories. And then we want to be curious about them. Anybody, here's a quick pop quiz. Can anybody tell me the 5 top words that will make you the most money? Drum roll, please. Anyone? Hmm.
Tell me more about yourself.
Yeah, well, close. Tell me more about that. Very good, Dr. Lisa. Yay, someone's paying attention.
I thought it was another rhetorical question.
Let's keep them coming. That's good. Oh, make it about what their outcome is too, right? Remember we talked, I want to say it was like 3 or 4 weeks ago about future pacing. You guys remember future pacing? Yes? So that's where we want to do that future pacing and make it about their outcome. Well, let's say you do make this change. What can you see happening? Right? Let them paint that picture because the more that they paint that picture, the easier it is for you to actually get that close, right? And then we want to keep the tone calm and warm and inviting. And then dig to find the real concern, like what's really holding you back, right? What's keeping you from taking action? What's keeping all of you right now from joining the Lost Transition even as a free member? What's holding you back? Get your links, get in there. Come on, let's have some fun. All right. So here's technique one that I'm going to give you guys. What specifically, right? I kind of threw it in there through the dialogue because it's just naturally for me to talk this way. But let's turn a vague stall into a concrete answerable question. Right? That's what we want to do. So yeah, if somebody says, I want to think about it, yeah, totally fair. Most people do. Just so I can help, when you say you need to think about it, what specifically are you wanting to think through? Right. And then pause it. Shoosh. Be quiet. Don't say another word. Right? The person that speaks first after that loses. That's why you want them to speak. Right? Ask the question, have the discipline, do pen and mouth if you have to, for Christ's sakes. Just shut it. Don't sell, don't oversell. Let them answer. Here's the psychology behind it, right? Think about it. It's fog. What specifically forces that person into focus? Well, this is where the real problem lies. This is what you want to get to. This is the root of all that you want to find out, right? What's actually causing that hesitation, right? Okay. This way you can actually address it together instead of guessing in the dark. But if you're guessing at whatever their hesitation is and you're trying to portray that guess onto them and you're wrong, you're going to make it worse for yourself. Then they're going to be like, oh, this person doesn't understand me at all and doesn't know what I'm looking for and is not listening. So automatically, whoop, walls go up. Jorge, go ahead. You had something you want to add?
Well, I was thinking to use the four reasons that you present there to help them, like go over that issue. Like say, well, uh, since you need to think about, it's possible that you are afraid to make a wrong decision, or you are confused, thinking that if you say yes, you don't know what's going to happen, or maybe there's a fact that I haven't explained clearly yet, and that's what's holding you. Or maybe you're comfortable the way your situation is, and that's why you don't need this. So, um, could any of those things be?
So I love where you're going with this. I really, really do. And I was leaning towards it all the while until we started getting towards the end. And the only problem that I could see with using that approach is that you're giving them four responses instead of just two. Anytime in the brain psychologically, when the mind has more than two options, it's going to cause automatic disinterest and they have to think deeper into whatever their answer is going to be. Right. So, although I like that, what will end up happening though, Jorge, is if as you go through enough customers and potential clients, you'll start seeing the patterns. This is what I'm talking about for you guys to recognize the patterns when it comes to apples, oranges, and coconuts. The reason that I say that is because instead of those four, you might notice that the apples are just the first two. The oranges might be the second and the third option, and then your coconuts are going to be like the third and fourth option. You know what I mean by that, Jorge?
Yeah,
Dre
I
said no.
understand.
Let me go back to this as an example. Okay. So let's say I'm talking to somebody and I realize that it's a an Apple customer, right? Very simple. They don't ask a lot of questions, very open, a lot of trust. Then I could potentially say, if I come into that, well, I need to think about it. I could say something like, "Oh, yeah, I totally understand." I get a lot of people that say that. In fact, most times that speak to people like yourself, it's normally because they have a fear or they're confused about something. Are any one of those two, like, am I hitting the nail on any of those two? And I would shake my head yes, so that if I'm directly talking to them, so I could get a yes response. If I'm speaking to an orange customer, I say, well, most people that I talk to, like yourself, they're typically confused because I didn't explain enough, or, well, actually, two and three kind of coincide together, right? They're either confused or maybe I didn't give them enough info, or either one of those the case. You with me now, Dara? You understanding what I'm saying?
Yeah, I just didn't know what an apple, orange, and coconut was.
Okay, so
I
that's
thought when you said an apple, I'm thinking the phone. Or
okay.
I didn't know.
Not the fruit
It's
phone.
like if he had an apple, it's like
Yeah,
he had an apple phone.
so to back up so that everybody is all caught up, right? This is an old teaching that I've taught for many, many years. And the best way that I've loved creating this small little coaching thing is I would go into a room of people that I would have, and typically they would be salespeople, right? And I would ask them, I would say, well, how many different types of customers do you think you would ever run into? And I would get all kinds of different responses, Drea. I would get one, five, 10, oh, hundreds. Oh, there's so many out there. You know what I mean? And I said, okay, well, great. I'm going to simplify your life from today forward. Because in essence, what I want you to do is equate it to these three. And there's really only three personality types that you need to think about. And that is the apple, the orange, and the coconut, right? So the apple is what I call the simple customer. How do you eat an apple? It's very simple, right? You brush it off, wash it off, whatever. Take a bite, very simple. Those are the customers that won't ask a lot of questions. They're very uh, high energy as well, but you've got built a lot of trust in them. So they're easy that they will say yes to you, right? The orange is somebody that what I call simple but complex. Okay, so that's somebody that's had a little bit of experience. They still have a great attitude. They might ask one or two questions, but those I equate to an orange, right? How do you eat an orange? Got to peel back that layer a little bit to expose the fruit. Once you've exposed the fruit, then it's easier for them to say yes. Then we get to the coconut, which is instead of the simple but complex, you reverse those. It's complex but simple. The reason that I call them complex but simple is only because once you identify those particular patterns with that coconut, they then become very simple to mold and work with. But ultimately, right, what's a coconut? You gotta freaking beat it, right? You gotta hit it over the head. This is where a lot of the
Hard headed.
things, if you heard me talk about the tonality and how you match the tone, and if somebody is like lashing out to you, how you would match that, and then little by little lower your tone to diffuse that person. That's how I would diffuse any coconut, right? And then once I've diffused that coconut because they're simple, because I know how they work, right? Now I've got them in my ballpark of being now turned into more of an orange. They're more open and receptive to what I'm saying. I explain a little bit more. I cover the fear, the confusion, the not enough info, and the not enough pain. And then now they become an apple because of all the information and they're ready to say yes. Make sense? So apple, orange, coconut, you'll never run into another different kind. Next person you talk to about business, I want you to think, was this person an apple? Do they have that tendency to be an apple or orange or a coconut? And then start seeing those behaviors and those patterns because the reason I'm explaining this to you is because all of your apples will say the same shit. All your coconuts will say the same shit. All your oranges will say the same shit, right? Your coconuts might be like the ones that you need to talk about three and four. Your oranges two and three. Your apples one and two. Does that tie everything together now? Make sense?
Well, I, that's really a great association to understand the personalities
Yeah.
because yeah, the apple you wash it and you eat it.
Mhm.
The orange you wash it, but you have to peel it to eat it, and
Yeah.
the coconut you have to break it.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is something I learned over 20 years ago, guys. And this is what I've been teaching for as long, if not longer. And there's others I've heard, and I don't know if you guys can chime in if you want to. I've heard the color personality profiles. I've heard those before. I don't lean on those at all because, like to me, it doesn't make sense. I still put them into apple, orange, or coconut, regardless of what color they are. You know what I mean? And it makes it a lot simpler. So now instead of thinking, oh my God, I'm going to run into all these different personality types, no, I won't. I know that I can fit all of them into one of those three categories. And if I'm paying attention to what Rob is teaching me and I'm paying attention to what they're saying, I'm going to notice that these people say this all the time. These people say this all the time. These people say this all the time. Hence, where I say that you will know what they're going to say before they say it. That's why that happens. That's why I can honestly say that to you guys. It's future pacing. It's knowing exactly what that person is going to say based off of where they're at in life, right? Whether they're an apple or orange and a coconut and the information that I share with them. Go ahead, Gene. Good stuff,
And
right?
yeah, exactly. And your apples, oranges, and coconut simplifies even more because I've done the colors before,
Mhm.
and those are more difficult because you're describing a type of person
Correct.
versus your way is how can I get into their head? How can I get into their psyche? And it's apple, oranges, or coconuts, and that's a little bit easier than trying to really go with the true personality traits. So,
Amen, brother. Amen. Aren't you glad you're back?
absolutely.
We are too, brother. We missed your face. All right, so that was specifically okay. We're running out of time here, so I got to quickly get through these. Technique two, this one works really well. I'm not sure if you've heard it before. It's widely used. If I could, would you? Write it down if you need to. If I could, would you? So let me ask you this. If I could solve that price thing, the timing thing, the schedule thing, whatever that real trouble that they're telling you they got to think about it for, piece for you right now, or whatever else is holding you back, or would you be ready to move forward? Right? So if I could solve problem A, would you be ready to move forward? That's the key factor to this, okay? If I could, would you? So if I can eliminate that fear, because I'll tell you guys quite honestly, and this might be against the grain and telling you stuff in the future, so to speak, but I don't tend to talk about price, right? Until it's time. And then if price is an objection, like I can easily overcome that, especially if I ask the right questions and say something like, well, how much do you think something like this would cost? Oh, probably hundreds of dollars. Oh, I want them to say that. I'm hoping they say that, right? Oh, okay. Well, then this isn't going to be as bad as you thought because it's only 37 bucks a month or 47 bucks a month or whatever it is, right? When they have this high expectation thinking it's going to cost them an arm and a leg, and then they come to find out really it's only a fraction of that, there goes that logical thinking, and they move into the emotional world of moving forward and taking action only off of the emotions, right? But if I could, would you? The psychology part of that, it separates that one obstacle from whatever the smoke screen is that they're giving you. And then if they say yes, that they'd move forward, then boom, you know you've got it. You know exactly how to solve what it is, right? And the sale is just that one step away. Well, if they say, well, also, perfect. They just handed you the second objection, right? The one that they were hiding that they didn't even bring up. And now you can go and take care of both of those things. And provided you can take care of both of those future objections that you drew out of them instead of having them spit them out in your face, right? Now you're tackling them. Now you're like a boxer in the ring and jab jab right hook as Gary Vee might say, right? Technique number three. This is one that I teach in a circle. This should be like at least question number six. On a scale of 1 to 10, where are you at? Like, if you're not, my goodness, I get passionate when I say this line. If you are not pre-qualifying people, expect turnover. Expect it. Not everybody, we already told you earlier today, not everybody is qualified to even come in and do network marketing. Somebody just fresh off the street, you're not going to convince them out of quitting their 9 to 5, right? They're going to have to keep their 9 to 5 while they're learning how to do all these things that we teach, how to market, how to talk to people, how to have the 5 conversations per hour, how to do all that fun stuff, how to ask the right questions, how to tell the right stories, right? These are the skill sets that you need to become successful online and offline. But if you're not qualifying them, then expect a lot of work, expect a lot of frustration, and don't come crying to me. All right. I'm kidding. You can come crying to me, just like they all have. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a shoulder to cry and I'm going to say, we talked about this, buddy. Okay. We talked about this. On a scale of 1 to 10, how serious are you? If they don't say 10, they don't qualify. Write that down if you need to. Okay. If they say 8, oh man, sorry, buddy. You just, right now you don't qualify, but give it some time and maybe when you're ready, you can come back and hit me up. Now, that is an easy way to deflect, put the ball in their court, let them off the hook and let them go swim up the river until they feel enough pain. They're like, damn it, I need to come swim back up the river to go talk to Robert, right? Or Dorea or Tony or Jorge, right? Get it? But get that honest answer because you'll know right away where they are. If they say, "Oh, well, why don't I qualify?" Well, you only told me you're an 8. Like that, I give you 2 weeks and you'll quit, right? I give you 2 weeks and you'll quit. If they're not a 10, don't let them in. Ooh, poet didn't even know it. Right? Dig deeper and let them go. Exactly like I just explained to you. You can either, at that particular point in time, you can decide, is that 12 minutes going to cost me more than 12 minutes? Do I need to dig deeper or do I just need to let the fish go? All right, do I need to set it up for potentially a callback? Hey, look, like Dr. Lisa, right? Remember how we showed and talked about that? Hey, look, I'd love to talk to you all day, man, but I got to talk to some other people. Let's talk in a few days. If you haven't heard from me by Friday, reach out, right? Put it back in their court so you're not sitting there chasing people, right? And you never know. I'm telling you guys this from experience. Is that one post that you put up that they saw 2 days ago that's got, that you're living inside their head. And they're like just waiting, and then all of a sudden something happens. That's it. I'm gonna call her. I'm gonna move forward. You know what I mean? All right. But if you're not there, they won't be either. So figure out. Are you gonna take a deeper dive or are you gonna let them go? Conversation killer is saying, "Hey, let me know." That's going to kill the conversation, right? Just give them the exit door. Might as well spank them on the butt as they're going out the door, right? Pat, like an NFL player. Good job, good game, all right? Good game. See you later. All right, getting defensive, don't do it, man. Just hey, if they don't want it, they don't want it. Take it for you needing to learn a little bit more about your skill set and how to present. Never assume the worst. Oh my God, this is something I tell my wife all the time. Not Rita, my online wife, but my real offline wife. Never assume the worst, right? There is that phrase, expect, what is it? Prepare for the best, expect the worst, something to that extent, right? But don't assume the worst, man. Never assume the worst because what are you doing? You're putting that out in the universe for something bad to happen, right? Going silent and being awkward, that's going silent is awkward, right? You don't want what we call dead air. The only time you want dead air is when you're asking a question and shutting up so that they can respond. That is the only time you want dead air. If there's a dead space, then you need to figure out, okay, what do I need to say to fill that dead air? I don't want it to be silent. I don't want it to be awkward. And then, of course, discounting too fast. Maybe you drop in the price, but you could have gotten the full version of whatever it is. That happens too. Don't discount it until you know if that is the objection, right? If the price isn't the objection and they're okay with the $147 price tag, then why would you screw that up for yourself, right? And then the last one, never following up. Oh, because, why would we do that? Even though as marketers, especially any of you that have been hanging around with me for any amount of time, know that I preach 6 to 12 touches. 6 to 12 touches. So you and whatever marketer told you to follow up at least 3 times, right? I'm not gonna insert your own bad dialogue here. But if you're not reaching out and having touches with these people at least 6 to 12 times, you're not following up. Don't kid yourself, okay? Don't let them fool you. Oh no. Even try to school you. Oh no. Could this be love? You know what I love? I love your takeaways. I love to hear from you right now. Did you guys get anything out of this? You guys get some value? You learn anything new? Come on, give me all those hypothetical question answers right now. What are the 4 hidden messages are you going to be using? Or which ones do you hear the most often? Or which technique will you commit to this week? What specifically? Write your exact replacement line for, okay, let me know if that's you. And you say, okay, let me know. Love to hear from you guys. And there's that awkward silence. Did you get some value out of
I
today?
think
Well,
I think
I,
that oh,
go ahead, Dr. Lisa.
the number one thing that I got out, I mean, this was priceless. The whole thing is priceless, stem to stern.
Score.
Okay. Um, but the I'll say the number one mistake that I would tend to make in the past is letting them off the hook
Sure.
right at the time, not staying in the room.
Yeah.
And so this was really, really good. And I've really never heard anyone teach to stay in the room.
Cool.
Yeah.
And kudos to you for owning that, by the way. Yeah, man. In fact, when you say that, I'm taken back to probably about 17 years ago when I started learning how to answer objections and knowing and understanding that everybody had at least three objections in them. Right? You've probably heard it as everybody has three no's. Maybe you've never even heard that before. But every person psychologically has three no's in them. If you know how to overcome those objections, at least three of them, they end up giving up because it's the top three objections that you have to answer, right? So I would stand there at the door and somebody might say, "Oh, I'm not interested," and be saying something like, "Oh, no, 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 I don't collect interest. So I'm not a bank." Like I was saying, my name is Robert. But all of those objections and the answers to those objections, so you understand how this works, were all tied back into going right back into our presentation where we needed to be or where we were interrupted or where we left off, right? As I was saying, da 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 da. Have you heard about this yet? Like, so no, you haven't, right? So we were able to maneuver it. And again, as you learn how to do those, you'll see that people only have three. And they would say not interested or, oh, I need to wait for my wife or, "Oh, I just don't have the time." I'd be able to overcome all three of those objections. And then they end up like, you see the body's like, "Ah, okay, right?" It's almost an exhaustion or exasperation to where they're like, all right, this guy's not letting go. We might as well say yes, right? And then the key factor to that, just so that you all understand, there's more to that. If you put somebody in that element, you have to then go back and do what I've talked about before is make them feel really good about what they just did. So if you go and you overcome those objections, you stay in the room with them, like what we're talking about, or even better, stay in the ring with them, right? And you overcome those objections and they say yes, even better, like kudos to you. But make sure at the end of that, you make them feel really good about what they just did so that they stay in the ring. Make sense? So great feedback and kudos for you to own that. Thank you. Anybody else?
Well, I like number two
Okay,
because it's like making an agreement or setting up a contract. So
sure.
if I could do this, would you do that? So it's an invitation to uh to an agreement, yeah.
Yeah, it's a game changer. I'm telling you, it's a game changer. And once I started learning that, I have to honestly say, the closing percentages were always pretty high, but the ability for me to find the right people that I wanted to be in my business went up significantly. And then you actually find those people that are a 10 or higher. Those are the ones that will actually move into action and take that type of action versus the ones that you might have gotten in the past where they sign up and then they never do anything, right? So kudos. Great job. Anybody else? Cool beans. All right. Well, I trust that you guys had a blessed weekend, that you got something out of today. I want you to move forward with the information that we gave you today. Like I said, if you just take one thing each time we come here and put it into your repertoire, start using it, you're going to get better, period. Like there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. I know what I teach works. I just can't do it for you. That's the kicker, right? So the next three times here, I need to think about it. Don't say, "Oh, let me know." Instead, I want you to respond with one of those three techniques we talked about. And then next week, we're going to get even deeper. We're going to talk about the handling. I don't have the money conversation, and that's just as good to have. Go ahead, G, before we
I
wrap up.
was I was trying to unmute myself or not. I raised my hand. I mean earlier and couldn't quite get it. One of the things I get out of these is and I'm not currently selling anything
Sure.
but myself on YouTube, but I'm not
Exactly.
really selling anything. But all this stuff I'm learning can help me when it comes time that I maybe want to find a sponsor for a show.
Amen.
um, or if I'm helping to promote somebody else, like my friend Lisa, who does face of epilepsy. If I'm trying to help promote her, and
Sure.
she's starting a foundation and a nonprofit, so if I'm doing that, this is all stuff I can to utilize for. So this
Amen.
isn't just sales. This is
Oh, it's life
promoting
skills.
yourself. Or
life, life
yes,
communication skills is what
exactly.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that I realize with this. And it's all about telling stories.
Yep.
And you will have some people that won't even give you the objections because they're so not into your story in the first place.
Mhm.
And if that's the case, you got to go back and figure out what was wrong with your story and rewrite your story because you want those objections.
Amen.
So, because if you don't get the objections, you're never going to get the yes.
Amen. I love objections when I used to get them. At first, they used to hurt, right? And then when I learned that I could learn from the objections, I invited the objections. Then I was able, when I was able to overcome those objections, that's where, guys, when you hear me talking about closing 100% of the people that I talk to, I'm not pulling your leg. I did it. And I did it in Spanish. You couldn't tell me no. You couldn't kick me out of the ring. You couldn't give me a right hook and make me walk away with my tail between my legs. Because at that particular point in time, I knew too much, right? I knew too much. I knew how it worked. And regardless of what I was facing on the other side of that door, I knew that I had a better intellect. And this is not like I'm not trying to stroke my ego, guys. I need you to understand where this is coming from. When you know this information, again, you can use it for good or bad. You better use it for good. Right? Because I'm not teaching you this stuff to go out and manipulate people in a bad sense. I'm teaching you this so that you understand how the real world really works, quite honestly. If you want to have better sales or meet better people, have better quality of conversations, better quality of friendships, these are all great skill sets that you should learn, right? Know what the body is saying, verbal, indirectly, or directly, and know how to have a basic communication with somebody, man. Because that's what the biggest problem is in today's society. We're too busy involved in this little black square more than we are into talking to our own neighbor, right? We've gotten away from that art of communication. And as I've said before, when it comes to network marketing, most people don't know how to find a qualified lead, much less what to say to the damn lead when they find them.
Mhm.
That's what needs to be fixed. What needs to be taught is how you ask the right questions and how you tell the right stories to attract the right people, to have the right amount of conversations with people that are qualified to join your business so that you can flourish and teach others how to do the same. On that note, I thank you all for being here. We will see you tomorrow for How To Tuesday, same time. We will still be meeting in this room, just so you guys know, clarification. Virgil and I will be using the live at the Lost Transition. Only he's going to be taking care of Tuesdays. And then we'll start diving into Wednesdays. I think we're going to do that for the paid members. And as I mentioned, Saturday at 12, we will have a walkthrough of the entire system and stuff and what's there and how to use it this Saturday at 12. So for all of you paid members. Beyond that, I want you to go out there, kick ass, take names, have a fantastic day. TGIM. We'll see you on the next one. Toot toot. Love you. Bye bye.